Hello friends, welcome back to virtual sessions. Now in last session we had a discussions about the looping techniques, and there we understand why we need to set the loop. Whenever you want to repeat a process for required number of times, then loop has to be established, and we found that there are three main types of loop: while, do while and for. Continuing to that session, let us try some more examples. Right? Yes, first of all, whenever you are dealing with the problems of looping, first thing we need to take care of that which loop should I use. Whether while loop will be appropriate in that particular program, or do while or for. I already explained you why and when we need to use while loop. Means when you don't know the number of iterations, and the total number of iterations depends on the criteria given. Means all possible results are there. Means maybe the finite number of iterations, maybe infinite number of iterations, or no iterations. And it will test the criteria on the top lines and then allow the control to process the things over there. That is what the while loop over there. And do while means first it will process, and it is like a while, but at a failure of criteria, while loop will not perform once only, because of the reason that it will test the criteria on the top lines. In case of do while, it will process and then check. Right? I had given you the example even. And in case of for, whenever you want to repeat the process for required number of times, when the number of counters, number of iterations are known to you, then for loop is applicable, because for loop is very simple loop: start, stop, step. These are all the things you need to establish on the same line. Now continuing to that particular sessions, we'll be discussing next sessions over there. Right? Let us say, like, first questions I want to solve now. That read a number and check prime or not. Now you will be to prime. What is prime number? You will be. Let us firstly discuss about what is prime number means. Prime number, a number which is divisible by 1 and itself only. Prime number is a number which is divisible by 1 and itself only. But if you read a number and set a condition like if n mod 1 equals to 0, means divisibility by 1 you are checking, and then n mod n equal to 0, check the divisibility by the whole number, and then you are saying it's a prime number. Right? Else not prime number. And if you think to write a logic like this, then this is absolutely wrong logic. Now why? Because if you say a number which is divisible by 1 and itself, just try and understand that every number, right? Every number is divisible by 1 and itself, but every number is not a prime number. Are you getting my point clear? So, if you write the condition like this to check the prime number, then you are wrong, because every number which you input is going to become a prime number, because every number is divisible by 1 and itself only. So, what is the correct logic then? Right? Actually, a number which is divisible by 1 and itself only means not divisible by any other number than 1 and itself. Right? Means by checking divisibility by only one and itself will not serve the purpose. We need to check the divisibility of the number by all other numbers. Right? So in such situations, if you can write, like, let's say, if you read what is the correct logic, you read a number, after that you set a like for loop for I equals to 1, I less than n by 2, I plus plus, or I less than n, I plus plus. Like what I said, every number is divisible by 1 and itself. So exclude 1. You start with 2. Set a loop from 2 to n minus 1. Set a loop from 2 to n minus 1 and then check the divisibility. A number which is not divisible, from 2 to n minus 1 means like 1 and itself means that number. All numbers are divisible by 1 and itself. So what you need to check now, what I said, what is the correct logic? Not divisible by any other numbers means like you set a loop from 2 to n minus 1 and check the divisibility. If that number is divisible from 2 to n minus 1, it's not a prime number, but because it is going to be divisible by 1 and itself only, not rest numbers. So physically actually you have to check the divisibility from 2 to n minus 1, right? And if that number get divisible from the range of numbers from 2 to n minus 1, then it is not a prime number, otherwise a prime number. Are we getting my point clear? So let us try this. The program is read a number to check prime or not. I should include stdio.h. I should include Tony.h. Read a number, right? And there is a flag value, and a flag value means status indicator, and then you can set a counter over here as I. What is the utility of n? N is a number of which you are checking the whether it is prime or not. Flag means it's a status indicator whether it get divisible in between or not, and I is for a looping counter, right? Let's say clear the screen and printf, enter the number and read the number from the user. Once you read the number, and then you like logic for checking prime or not, right? Then you need to set the loop for I equals to 2, I less than n, I plus plus. I already explained this, right? Means you need to set the loop which increase from 2 to n minus 1, and then I need to check the divisibility. If the n mod I equals to 0, if n mod I equals to 0, right? Means like if it is get divisible from any other number from 2 to n minus 1, then flag has to be 1. Then flag has to be 1. Else flag will remain 0, right? And then here, if you said if flag remains 0, it means printf %d is a prime number, and that is the value of n. Else if flag become 1, right? Else flag become 1. When the flag become 1, when it is get divisible by that particular number. So then else you said %d is not a prime number. right? So hope you understand the logic. I read a number, I set the flag. What is the utility of flag? Because if it is get divisible, because you will check the divisibility by all the rest numbers. So if it is get divisible, set the flag value. Flag means status indicator to 0 or 1. By default it is 0. And by default you set it as a 0. And once you get divisible, you make it 1. So if the flag value become 1, it means it is divisible from any other number in the range of 2 to n minus 1. And hence it is not a prime number. But if it remains 0, it means it is a prime number. Understand it? This is the way how you can like set a loop. Now here why I use a for loop? Because we know the fixed called like 2 to n minus 1. We know the number of iterations. And hence in such situations, start value, stop value and step value, that all things are known to you, then you need to set a for loop for the result. Hope you understand it? Okay. Then we go for the next issue. Next take an example, and that is, okay, the next one is generate a Fibonacci series for n terms. Now Fibonacci series means 0, 1, means like 1, 2, 3, 5. It means what is the relation between these all the generated terms? Right? Addition of previous 2 terms is equal to current term. Addition of like previous 2 terms means 0. First term is 0, second term is 1. 0 plus 1 equals to 1. 1 plus 1 equal to 3. Means to generate the current term, generate the like current term. The condition is it has to be the addition of previous 2 terms, and in this manner you can continue the series. 5 plus 3 8, 8 plus 3 13, likewise. And this series of terms, series of numbers is called as Fibonacci series. Right? Let us discuss this. I should put yesterday or I should put only over. Then we have a void man. Then we set our first term equal to 0, second term equals to 0, and the resultant term, right, and the n. Resultant term, and you made the I value. I means your looping counter log. Right? Let's understand this. Now, okay, n is for total number of terms. Right? So, like first of all, you ask printf how many terms required. Right? How many terms required over there? Of the Fibonacci series, I will say n terms. Total number of terms will be the value of n. Then logic for generating Fibonacci series for is first of all you will print these 2 terms as it is. %4d to have a space between the 2 respective terms. %4d, you can have a comma in between if required. Into the 2 terms, and the first term from a second term. Means you second term has to be the 1. Means print your first term and second term as it is, right? Because what I said, what the Fibonacci series, first term, second term will be as it is, and then to generate the current term, it has to be the addition of previous two terms, right? So then you set the loop, because two terms of Fibonacci series you already printed. So why not you start with I equals to 2, I equal to 3, because 2 already printed. I equal to 3, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. Now you have to find out the third term. You have to find out the third term of a Fibonacci series firstly. Resultant term equals to first term plus second term. Resultant term equals to first term plus second term. You print your resultant term, third term, that is 0, 1 and 1. And then you replace, first term has to be replaced with the second term, and second term has to be replaced with the resultant term, right? Now in your third term it will print 0, 1, 1. Now first term become 1 and second term become 1. So the next term will be fourth term will be 1 plus 1, 2, right? So what is the series? 1 plus 1, 2 now. And then after printing 2, again first term become 1 and second term become 2. Now the next term will be 3. Get my point clear? Means you have to add the two terms, make it a resultant term, then first term becomes second term and second term becomes resultant term. In this manner you carry on with the n, and you can able to generate the Fibonacci series. Understand it clear? Now like many times this first term and second term may not be initialized to 0 and 1. You can even able to enter the data of first term and second term also. In that situations, you have to read the value of first term and second term, and it will continue as it is over there, right? Because Fibonacci series doesn't mean that it will start always with 0s and 1, right? What is the main rule of Fibonacci series? Addition of previous two terms equal to current term. This is the main logic. But first term may be entered by the user, second term may be entered by the user. So if the question is asked to read the first two initial terms from the user and the total number of terms, n represents total number of terms, then here you have to read the first term and second term values instead of initializing by 0s and 1. And then you continue the same loop over there. You can able to generate the Fibonacci series for n term, right? This is what the discussion on the Fibonacci series was, right? Hope you understand it. Now the next question is, read a number to check Armstrong or not. Now what is Armstrong number? That is sum of cube of all the digits is equal to a number. Means for example, let's take example of 153. Means you have to separate the digit and find the cube of it. 1 cube, then 5 cube plus 3 cube. So 1 cube is 1, 5 cube is 125, and 3 cube is 27. If you add all these stuffs, it becomes 153. That means what? A number where sum of cube of all the digits equal to that number, and that is called as Armstrong number. You get my point clear? Let us try this example by example. Read a number to check Armstrong or not. Right? Hash include stdio.h, hash include neo.h, void name, right? Let us okay, you want to find out the cube of the number. Nothing to worry about. Okay, you will go with the read a number, and you find out the d sum equals to 0, sum of cube of r. Then you need to write the remainder value, that is r, okay, or digit. You extract over there, and one temporary variable when you, why I am reading these all the variables. You read the number firstly, enter the number, scan f %t, address of n, read the number. Once you read the number, now you store it in the temporary variable. Why? Because the n is going to update. What I said, after finding out the extract out the digits, find the cube of it, and then sum it, and that digital sum equals to n. So in that process, the value of n will do update. Hence I stored this value of n to a temporary variable because I have to compare later on. Then while, because to separate the digits, while I have to write the loop while n more than 0 till the value of n remains more than 0, which at the end of the loop the value of n becomes 0. So you cannot compare with the digital sum with the n because n becomes 0. That's why I stored the value of n in the temporary variable, right? While n more than 0, you first of all find out the digit, the equal to n mod 10. N mod 10 will give you the digit. Then you like 1 2 3, if number is 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 mod 10 will give you the 4. Like in a similar manner, n mod 10 will give you the digits. Then you find out d sum plus equals to, find out the cube of that, d into d, find the cube of that digit and add it to the summation, right? And then n divide equal to 10. The same digit separation logic which we used in finding the digital sum, finding the reverse of a number and all this stuff like that, right? So n mod 10 will give you separate the digits, you find the cube of the digits and add in the d sums, and n divide equal to 10 every time the quotient has to be updated, and repeat this till n more than 0. After that, if the d sum, the sum of cube of all the digits equal to the temporary variable, because equal to that number, then printf %d is an Armstrong number, and what is that number? Is the value of 10. As the value of n is updated, so you can't get n over here, because if you use n, it will print 0. So that's why you have to print the, otherwise is not an Armstrong number, right? As I said, 153 is the first Armstrong number. You check it for that, you will get the result, and the rest numbers are not the Armstrong numbers. You understand the things about that? What is Armstrong number? Sum of cube of all the digits equal to that number is called an Armstrong number, right? Okay. Now move for the next question. That is, read a 4-digit number to print it using alphabet. Means, for example, if you are inputting 1 2 3 4, I am expecting output 1 2 3 and 4, right? So you have to separate the digit not from right to left, but from left to right, and then you have to use a switch case over here. Let us try this. Okay. Read a 4-digit number to print it using alphabet. Input equal to 1 2 3 4 and output equals to 1 2 3 and 4. Hash include stdio.h. In the similar manner you have hash include conio.h, and here the number. Read the number firstly, and then as you are entering a 4-digit number, so a equals to 1000. I explain you what is the logic behind a equal to 1000, and then initially that's it. Then clear the screen. I'll ask the user printf enter any 4-digit number and scan that number. After scanning that number, you will set a loop while n more than 0, switch n divided by a, value of n divided by a. Then in the switch you write case 1, you define print ONE and break. We repeat this all the cases. Define all these cases over here. Because you don't know what digit will be there in that number, and default, as I already explained you in the by demonstrating switch case, default you print a 0, and define the end of switch. At the end of a switch, you will write n equals to n minus n by a into a, and n a equals to a by 10, right? And then we define end of, here it's a end of switch, here it's an end of while, and then here it's an end of men. Now let us understand what is going to happen, right? Basically, if you enter 1 2 3 4 over here, so while 1 2 3 4 is more than 0, now 1 2 3 4 by a means 1 2 3 4 divided by 1000, so it will switch 1 over here, so it will print 1. After that, it will come out of the switch block, and n equals to here 1 2 3 4 minus, means 1 2 3 4 minus 1 into 1000, 1 2 3 4 minus 1 into 1000 means now n become 234, right? N equals to 1 2 3 4 minus 1000, and a become 100. Now 234 by 100 means it will switch to 234 by 100. Now 234 minus 2 into 100 is 234 minus 200 means 34 will remain, and a become 10. 34 by 10 means now 3 will be switched. Hope you understand it. You try to work it out by using pen and paper, you will get this logic clear. So successfully you can able to read any 4-digit number and able to convert into the alphabet over there. This is the logic called as digit to alphabet conversion, right? Okay. So then hope you understand these all the questions well over there, right? So you practice it over here, right? Thank you.